Bitch, you can't throw some eggs in the skillet. At this point, I will take fried air. I'm hungry. Hey loves, my name is Iphannie and this is the Iphanniebgentle podcast. I want to start off this episode by saying I'm so sorry I missed the last few weeks. My family and I were actually battling COVID, which I'll cover in another episode. However, I am really excited about posting every Saturday. If you like my content, please be sure to leave a review on Apple Podcast or Anchor, whichever you listen to us on, and check out my podcast website at www.iphanniebgentlepodcast.com, where you can not only listen to my podcast, but read a more in-depth version of each episode. I'm also posting my podcast episodes on my YouTube channel. Hey, shout out to everyone that's watching on my YouTube channel right now. I'm actually filming my first live, or not really live, but I'm actually filming my first podcast episode for my YouTube channel where you can actually see my face. If you want to see how I got this look, I definitely have this look posted, so make sure you check that out as well. FYI, I am talking about my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Iphanniebgentle. You can just search that up and I'll pop it right up for you. But if you want to see my facial expressions or watch the video version of each episode, feel free to go to my YouTube channel and don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well. Today's episode, I'll be jumping into the topic of traveling during COVID, as well as what really happened on my Costa Rica trip. If you guys want to hear what really happened, you don't want to miss this one. So last year, around the end of April, beginning of May, my sister-in-law reached out to me in regards to a girls trip. I had never been on a girls trip before. The last time I actually left the country was when my sweetheart and I, as well as our son, went to Belize in 2016 for my dad's wedding. So I was a little hesitant about going anywhere where my family just was not going to be with me. I was even more hesitant about going on a trip with a bunch of women I didn't know. I have a love-hate relationship with women. They either really love being around me or they don't like me, which doesn't happen very often, but you do get those one or two that sometimes just does not like me for some odd reason, and I'm okay with that. I believe it's because I have such a strong, dominant personality that sometimes people, men and women, can't handle it, and that's fine with me. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. But my sister-in-law told me that everyone she invited were cool as hell, and some of my cousins were going, which made me a little bit more comfortable to think about going because I still wasn't sure. She told me that the trip was to Costa Rica and that we'd be there for around 6 days, which included the flight. And I was definitely down to go to Costa Rica because I've never been before, but I was still a little hesitant about going to Costa Rica with strangers. Needless to say, as soon as I got off the phone, my sweetheart sent me the money for the deposit for the trip. I can't lie, I was shocked. Not because he sent me the money, but because he said that I needed to go and have some fun. He said that I'm always being a wife, I'm always being a mom, and I just needed some me time. And to be honest, me time never really crossed my mind. When you have children, sometimes you get so wrapped up in your children's lives or your household in general that you tend to forget about yourself. So when he told me that I needed some me time, it made me realize that since having our son, I haven't really had a day to myself. He's always with me, which, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing at all, but you need to learn to prioritize yourself and pour into yourself just as much as you pour into others. So I sent her the deposit and started planning for my trip to Costa Rica. I want to be really transparent with you guys. I was very nervous about going to Costa Rica because when I think of Costa Rica, I think about beautiful bikinis and beaches and bomb-ass bodies. And to be transparent with you, I'm not where I want to be body-wise, but I knew that I would enjoy myself either way, so I started ordering things for my trip. Who knew Amazon had some hot fire for the Lolo, okay? Like, they had really cute outfit selections, and Target also had some really, really cute swimsuits, so I grabbed a couple of those. And as the days got closer, I really started to take a deep dive into the itinerary that was sent to me for the trip. There was going to be like a private chef, tons of activities, and a beautiful house with a private pool. The chef's menu went dumb. It went crazy. I'm talking brunch consisted of items like chicken and waffles, shrimp and grits, red velvet pancakes, breakfast potatoes, while lunch consisted of margarita chicken, cilantro lime shrimp, ceviche, lemon and herb salmon fillets, white wine pasta. And dinner consisted of lobster, red snapper, fried plantain, Cajun Brussels sprouts, garlic butter mashed potatoes, southern mac and cheese, and seafood fried rice. The Airbnb had tons of space, and it was local in town, so if we wanted to go, we can go. Take a couple of Ubers to get wherever we wanted to explore the town. I was beyond excited. I'm not even gonna lie. I saw the menu and I was like, I for sure want to taste every bit of that food. It's gonna be so damn good. As the trip got closer, I began to pack and make sure I had everything that I needed, my passport, extra underwear, the usual. One thing I forgot to pack for sure were pads and tampons, because I was like, girl, she ain't about to come visit me on this trip and ruin it. We'll get to that though. I packed my makeup because I was prepared to beat my face at least twice during this trip, and possibly beat a face or two while I was there. We had already discussed that in our group chat on Facebook. The day finally came. My sweetheart dropped me off at the airport, where I ran into one semi-familiar face. I didn't really know her that well, but she did know my parents. They did Herbalife together, and they were working out and so on and so forth. So they had a really good understanding of who each other were. So that was really cool. We all named ourselves nicknames for the trip, so I'll just go by the nicknames for everyone's privacy. My nickname was Stacks, which, funny thing, my sweetheart actually named me because he said I'm stacked in the front and the back. I know that's right. I met up with Georgia, who arrived at the airport around the same time I did. We got in line to check our bags and started to see everyone trickle in. Seductive and Delicious then arrived, which are also my cousins. So I officially did not feel alone anymore. I became instantly comfortable because I was like, cool, I got family here. I'm good to go. Then a few other girls arrived shortly after. We checked our bags and headed to the terminal. So it was around 1 a.m. I believe our flight took off maybe a little bit after that. I feel like I was sitting in the airport forever because your girl was tired. I hadn't slept since the day before that, because earlier that day I had gotten my hair braided. So I was drained, okay? Your girl needed to sleep ASAP. We got on the plane and we were off to Costa Rica. The flight wasn't bad at all. I'm not really a fan of flying, only because I tend to swell up during flights, but luckily, for some odd reason, this flight I did not swell up on. We took 2 planes to get to Costa Rica, by the way. When we landed, instead of going straight to the house, we went to the mall, which was actually pretty nice. It's definitely not what I expected, but then again, I don't know what to expect in another country. Belize, their mall is completely different than what you would expect it to be as well. So yeah, that was kind of my experience with the mall. I hadn't eaten all day, so I went to grab something to eat because they told us that we would get something light at the house and then we'd be going out to eat that night. And guys, it was like over 24 hours that I had eaten. So I was like, your girl needs to eat something. I'm like dying at this point. I grabbed a few things from Taco Bell and McDonald's. Yes, they had a Taco Bell and a McDonald's. And I wanted to test out and try the different foods because I know in Belize, McDonald's tastes completely different than it does in the States. And sure enough, they were good, but they definitely tasted different than they do in the States. And then we were off to Walmart. Now, the Walmart in Costa Rica was pretty small compared to what I was used to, but I'm also used to like the super Walmarts. But they had pretty much everything that you needed. I did decide to buy some flowers for the host, and the ladies bought some snacks, little stuff that they can snack on the way there, and some alcohol. After Walmart, I was so ready to go to the house and lay that ass down. Like, your girl was exhausted. I got on that bus, which is one of the forms of transportation they provided for us for the trip. And we were finally heading to the house. I was so excited to see the house in person because Peaches, one of the hosts for the trip, and my sister-in-law sent us pictures of the house, and it was beautiful. Like, I'm talking a pool outside, balconies. There was like an upper deck area. It was just so pretty. Once we got there, we were greeted with champagne. And for those of you guys wondering, I'm not really big on drinking, especially not champagne. I feel like champagne is just so nasty. It's just not my cup of tea. So I was like, okay, this is cool. It was a really nice gesture, to be honest. But, you know, I'm not really a champagne drinker. I did take a little sippy sip, but that was about it. I handed the girls their flowers and started to wander around the house to find my room. The house was so nice. I went outside and I attempted to see the pool, but child, it was really dark. So I went back in the house. It was dark. I was like, I don't know if they got little critters out here. I'm not a fan of bugs. So I went my butt back in the house. I started to look for my room. There were so many rooms in the house. It was kind of hard to find mine. I'm not even gonna lie. I went into my room and didn't even realize it was my room. So that happened twice. The house was 2 stories. There were, I believe, 3 bedrooms on the first floor and then 5 bedrooms on the second floor. My room was on the second floor. I had a balcony connected to my room, which was beautiful, especially because I think I could literally see all of Costa Rica from my room. I loved it. I did have a roommate whose name was Bootiana, but she was great. She was very accommodating and very sweet, so we were off to a great start. I saw all the other girls' rooms, and then we were all called downstairs. Peaches and P Valley, which was the other host, welcomed us on the trip, and we all toast. We played a few games just so that we could warm up to everyone and get to know everyone. There were some girls that had to take like a little detour because there was turbulence and there was stuff going on in the sky and the plane couldn't land, so they had to kind of take a detour, but they ended up coming to the house a little bit later, and so we got to meet everyone and kind of like get to know everyone a little bit on a personal level, because some of the games we played were things like, can you guess whose raunchy story this is? Like, you know, fun stuff like that. And it's a girls trip, so what do you expect? So it was good to see and learn about the girls and see them in a different light. It made everyone more personable, for real. After that, I really can't remember what we did. I don't know what the hell. I really don't know what we did. I'm so confused because I was thinking back and I was like, what did we do the first night? Did we just hang out? I can't remember. It's really bad. But the next day we woke up at the butt crack of dawn. Like literally the sun wasn't even up yet. I was exhausted. I barely slept, and we was up because we were doing activities, and our bus was arriving, I believe, at 6 a.m. So with barely any sleep, I got up, got dressed, and headed to the bus. The bus ride did take over an hour, but when we arrived, it was so beautiful. There was so much greenery, an array of colorful flowers. I was so excited to see what the plan was for the day, because at that point, I knew we were doing something. Your girl was drawing a blank, so I can remember what we was doing. We walked inside of this building, signed some waivers, and then headed out another door where we were harnessed. And then their tour guide, because we had 1 or 2 tour guides, and they were telling us what we were gonna do. And then we got in another wagon that was pulled by a tractor. We got in another wagon that was pulled by a tractor to go on our first venture. After being strapped to a large tree, we headed down our first zip line. Guys, we were zip lining. It was so pretty. I captured some footage on my phone and uploaded it to my YouTube channel for my Costa Rica vlog, which was really good. I didn't get that much footage, but I got a decent amount of footage of zip lining and ATVing. Ziplining was so much fun. I had a great time. I've been ziplining before in Belize, and I had a good time, but this was like a whole nother level because I felt like we were ziplining for over 2 hours. Like, we were ziplining for a long time. And while I enjoyed it, it did feel like it was a long, long time. So after ziplining, we rode ATVs, and that was my first time actually riding ATVs, and I had a lot of fun. We also rode ATVs for over an hour. We rode through the forest, through a few villages, which were actually still occupied, and it was truly a sight to see. I really enjoyed ATVing. After ATVing, we were actually taking shots, and we had some lunch, and then we got back on the bus, and we headed back to the house where we got dressed for the night. Now, our chef had arrived, and it was an all-white night. We all got dressed up in our white outfits, and we were ready to eat some good ass food, okay? The chef had prepared a salmon salad and pineapple bowls with chicken, shrimp, and white rice. The food was good. I'm not gonna lie, the food was good. However, I don't think the chef really calculated how many women were gonna be there, because there weren't enough pineapple bowls or shrimp. It got to the point where women were sharing pineapple bowls and they were rationing shrimp. It was crazy. I was like, this is off to an interesting start. Luckily, we ate earlier while we were ziplining, so it's not like we were exactly starving. But after getting back to the house, we didn't have any snacks. So we were pretty hungry. So when some of the women didn't have enough food, attitudes began to shift, which was definitely and completely understandable, because I would have got an attitude too. Luckily, my ass got dressed real quick and got down to that table so I can get my food. But after dinner, we changed into lingerie and headed to the living room, where we had a night of games and advice giving, which I believe that was like 6 hours long. Because after we ate, we sat down and we played some games, which was really fun. And then we started giving advice. And that advice, honestly, we didn't go to sleep until around 4:30 in the morning. It was intense, but it was really a good night. I actually enjoyed myself. I realized that there's a lot of women who I can connect with on different levels, some more superficial, and then some on a deeper level. So I really enjoyed that. A lot of women trickled off throughout the night and called it a night early, because we had such a long day already. Like, I felt like the day was just going on and on and on. Even though we were having fun, it was like, girl, I need a break. I need a nap. I need something. So the next morning, the cleaners came, which I thought was a little bit weird, because first of all, they came at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. while we were still in the house. They literally woke us up. I was livid. I had only about 3 hours of sleep, so the fact that people thought it was okay to bang, they weren't knocking. It wasn't like a knock, knock, knock. It was like bang, bang. Like the police was at the damn door. They was banging on our room door to tell us to get up so they can clean our room. It pissed me the fuck off. I told them no, and I went back to sleep. Me and my roommate, Bootiana, was like, nah, don't come knock on this damn door. We are gonna cuss you out. We're going to bed. But anyone who knows me knows that once I wake up, I'm up. So I ended up getting up and grabbing breakfast, which had just finished. Now, it was weird to me. There's a whole lot of weird going on. It was weird to me that on vacation, breakfast would be made at 7 a.m. Because who the fuck goes on vacation and wakes up at 7 a.m. to eat breakfast? That shit really blew my mind. But I ate breakfast anyway, because I was already awake, and why not? Breakfast tasted good, but are you ready for the bullshit? Up until now, I felt okay about the trip. I enjoyed the activities and other parts of the trip, and some of the women were cool. But there was something about the trip that had already started to push my buttons, and this was day 2. So when I got down to breakfast and saw the spread, which was scrambled eggs, French toast, bananas, Foster, bacon, and fruit, the first thing I thought to ask the chef was, is this all the food? Because I wasn't sure if the chef had only made enough food for the women that were at the table, or if she was going to make food and this was it. Like, this was all it was going to get. When the chef said yes, that was all the food, and was dead ass serious, I looked at the girls next to me and knew that the girls that were asleep weren't getting any food, because for 16, yes, I believe it was 16 girls, for 16 girls, this chef, quote unquote chef, and I use that term extremely loose, made 12 pieces, 12 slices of bread, 12 pieces of French toast, 1 pack of bacon, a regular container of fruit, and 1 dozen eggs. Now, I don't know any grown-ass woman who only eats 1 slice of French toast, half a piece of bacon, and a regular teaspoon scoop of eggs for any meal, especially for breakfast and on vacation. But that shit really blew my mind. At that point, I was beyond irritated. Although I have food during both of these meals the so-called chef had cooked, there was at least 2 to 3 women who didn't get to eat. They literally did not get to eat. So when the other girls woke up and came downstairs for breakfast and noticed that they had little to no food, child, all hell broke loose. Now, I want to let you guys know that none of these women are sticks. Okay? We all got some meat on our bones. So, some more than others. So, the fact that there weren't any snacks in the house, like literally no snacks in the house, and the chef wasn't making enough food, I just knew this was gonna go downhill. It was going to go downhill because 1, half of these women were on their cycle. Yes, one girl triggered 7 of us. 7 of us were on our cycle. I hadn't had my cycle in months, baby. Months. The fact that this one, and it had to be my roommate. My roommate triggered everybody's cycle, guys. I was done. I was like, child, now we got to share tampons and pads. It was it was crazy. It was really a sight to see. But all these women were on their cycle. 2 or 3 of them were hungry. We didn't have no snacks. We didn't even have water, okay? I don't know who, what, when, where, and why we didn't have water on this trip, but we didn't have not a 1 bottle of water in the house, okay? And I wasn't about to drink no sink water because I wasn't about to have the shits. Absolutely not. But we had alcohol. We had all the alcohol. It just screamed a hot ass mess. And this is no disrespect to the women that hosted, because they were awesome. Like, they did exactly what they needed to do. It's that raggedy ass chef. Like, that lady, I don't know what the fuck, who, what, when, where, and why, but it was a hell no for me, okay? What's even funnier is the fact that the chef then asked when we would like her to make lunch. Bitch, we want it now. We hungry. We want it now. The other girls hadn't had breakfast. When they asked for more plates so they can grab some of the leftover fruit that was there on the table, the chef had the nerve. The chef had the nerve to say there aren't any clean dishes for them to get fruit. And she doesn't do dishes. That's an extra fee. Like, hold the fuck up. What? Who? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, chef, you were paid so much money. Like, when I say so much money, she was paid so much money for her to be shorting us on food, not sticking to the menu, because anything that I read earlier, anything that I said earlier, was that in the menu? No, it was not. And not cleaning up after the people she cooked for. What kind of chef are you? I'm thoroughly confused. Child was a fucking mess. So when she made lunch, which was chicken quesadillas, chicken nachos, store-bought guacamole, and store-bought pico de gallo, and we were told we were only able to get 2 triangles, bruh. 2 triangles of the quesadilla. 2 triangles of the quesadilla. Because there wasn't enough for us to get at least 1 whole chicken quesadilla. Child. You see where this is going, right? Okay. Needless to say, the girls that didn't get breakfast were able to get a little bit of food for lunch. And after lunch, we got dressed because we were told that we were having a photo shoot. Now, we on our periods. We hungry as hell. Ain't got no water, dehydrated. And now you want me to smile for a fucking picture. It was, child, but it gets, let's continue. When we first arrived, we found this gift from the host, which was a swimsuit with our nicknames engraved right on top of the booty. It was real cute. It was super cute. So we got dressed in our swimsuits and we headed to the pool. We took a few group photos and then we chilled and we got to really sit and talk to one another and lay out by the pool because, you know, today was our chill day because we had quite an adventure earlier that day. So we definitely needed a chill day. And then after that, we got dressed for the night out on the town. When we got on the bus, because again, it's so many girls were being transported by bus. This is not like a local bus. This is, you know, a driver with a bus for us. When we got on the bus, it started to rain, and I thought we had a designated place that we were going, and we had reservations because it's not 3 of us, it's 16 of us, okay? So I thought we had reservations and whatnot, but apparently not. Apparently not. While taking shots on the bus, one girl started to throw up. It so happened to be one of the girls that hadn't gotten to eat dinner the night before, breakfast, barely got anything for lunch. She didn't have no food in her system. So she was loaded. And when we pulled up to the first location, we all got out just to find out that there wasn't any room for any of us to sit and eat at this restaurant. So we ended up having to get back on that damn bus. Okay? The shit was getting real tricky. It gets real tricky. Okay? So when we hadn't eaten for the entire trip, of course, everyone is already like kind of walking on eggshells because our attitudes are starting to form. Everybody getting a little hungry, a little hangry. You know, we getting real irritable already because of life in general. And then because we ain't ate, and it's a mess. We literally just took down a bottle or two of liquor on the bus, and now we're starving, so everyone is getting a little antsy. We pull over to try to figure out where we could all eat and end up seeing this nacho house. Now, mind you, we had nachos for lunch. Although it was about 2 or 3 trips that we had, we still had nachos for lunch. So no one really wants nachos, but, you know, at this point, we got to do what we got to do. And we found out that because of COVID, there's a curfew and we were running out of time to find something to eat. So we all agreed to go to this nacho house to grab some food and head back to the house, or so we thought. A few girls decided to stay back with the girl that was drunk while the rest of us went to go get the food. So we sat down, we ordered our food. After about 35 minutes, we see a few girls run by, not walk, but run by the nacho house restaurant windows with boxes of pizza. Instantly, a few girls that I was with get pissed because it was our understanding that this was really the only place that we can eat at. So we kind of just settled. So while we were waiting for our food, 2 of the girls ran past the restaurant, or 2 of the girls that ran past the restaurant. They, you know, walked into the restaurant that we were in, and you can instantly feel the mood shift. Everybody was livid. Everybody. While the girls were mad, one of the girls asked what the issue was. While she spoke, I continued my conversation about my family because they were asking me, oh, do you have any kids? I was like, yes, I have a son and I have a stepdaughter and, you know, this, that, and the other. I live here or do this. My husband does that for a living. So we were having that conversation before these girls walked into the building. So I just continued my conversation because at that point I was just over it. I didn't even care no more. I was just like, just give me my damn nachos so I can go about my business. And one of the girls assumed that I was saying something about her or saying something, telling her I had an issue or some shit. I don't know what she assumed, but it escalated quickly. And she was like, is there a problem? And I was like, who are you talking to? Now, I had to remember that I was in Costa Rica because I wasn't in the States. And, you know, there's certain etiquette that you need to have when you're in another country because you don't really know how shit works. And I wasn't about to be in a situation where, you know, a bitch was in jail. So, ain't nobody talking to you. Go on about your way. And I said what the fuck I had to say, and I kept it pushing. I left it alone. Especially because, I'm really cool. I'm really, chill. But my temper, sometimes it gets there. So I wanted to make sure that I was chill. My cousins were still in the car. So, I was like, let me just calm down, because I want to make sure that I am conducting myself like I got some damn sense. And I don't be acting a fool in another country. And so I just left it alone. We ended up getting our food, eating a little bit of it, and then we were like, they're closing, we need to go. So we got back on the bus. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that bus ride was awkward as hell. It was quiet. Like, you can hear a pin drop. It was so freaking quiet. My cousin was asking me, like, what happened? Because we're both Scorpios. Me and my cousin are Scorpios. She saw my mood shift, and she was like, what happened? Who the fuck I gotta fight? And I was like, nah, it's good. Like, I'm chilling. I'm not worried about nothing. So when we got to the house, we pulled up to the house. Everyone kind of dispersed and went into their own little corners of the house. And the trip literally felt like it was officially ruined. I'm not even gonna hold you. It felt like it was ruined. I was like, damn. Because I was still I was texting my husband the entire time, because I actually paid for my phone to work while I was in Costa Rica. So I was texting him and telling him what was going on. And he was like, damn, Diggs, that's fucking crazy. That's like, what is going on? And the entire time I was thinking, like, you know what? I just got a couple more days of this shit and then I can go home. So I was like, not really tripping off of it. But, everybody had their own little thing. Everyone's attitude was like on 30. Because people were livid. Like, they were like, was old girl trying to check so-and-so? Or was old girl trying to check me? Or check you? Or check... And I was just like, ain't nobody about to check me, boo. But, that's another story. So, everyone really called it a night. It was not our greatest moment on the Costa Rica trip. But, again, I don't really blame any of this on us personally, because the girl that said something to me, I actually really like her. She's cool people. I just think that bitches was hungry, okay? Like, when you get hungry and you get periods and you get periods and you get hungry, it's just a recipe for disaster. And we ain't got no water, and I don't really drink anything but water, really. So for me, I was like, damn, I just feel like, when SpongeBob, that episode when SpongeBob is out of water and he starts to shrivel up, and like the only thing that revives him is that teardrop. That's what I felt like. I just need a little teardrop to revive me, because a bitch was hungry and thirsty. So the next morning when we woke up, we had a conversation with one of the hosts about what happened the night before, because she was loaded. So she was like a little confused. She was like, what happened? I didn't know there was a problem. And, people were like, oh, well, I felt like this, I felt like that. And I was like, I don't really care how anybody felt. This is what happened. And, this is what it is. And we just need to move on from it, period. Then one of the hosts got a phone call from the so-called chef, which, child, she pretty much told us, like, I'm not cooking for you guys anymore. I'm not cooking for you guys anymore. I'm not coming to cook for you. It was a complete shit show. She was like, oh, they don't have this at the store. They don't have that at the store. So I'm just not going to cook for you. Bitch, you can't throw some eggs in the skillet. At this point, I will take fried air. I'm hungry. Okay, I'm hungry. So it went from waking up and then 20 minutes later finding out that the girls were still mad about the night before, and we wasn't getting no damn breakfast. Now, my attitude then shifted tremendously, because bitch, we ain't got no motherfucking food. We have no food. We have no food. I don't think you guys understand the gravity of being in another country and not having any food. I don't know if Uber Eats works out here, Postmates, but we ain't got no damn food. So it got to a point where it was just like, okay, who got an Uber Eats account or a Postmates account that we can use, and we will fucking Cash App you some money to order us some food because we're hungry. It was just thinking about the shit just pisses me the fuck off, honestly. Like, it just makes me so mad, because I'm like, child, I feel like I jinxed myself though, because in the back of my mind, I kind of thought like something was going to go wrong on this trip because it sounded too good to be true. So I think I jinxed myself, guys. But, you know, the same day we ended up having masseuse come to the house. So we ended up getting massages, which was great. I was like, I need something, because at this point, I'm just a big old stress ball at this point. It was definitely needed. The trip just became extremely exhausting. Like, I was literally like, can I change my flight to right now at this point? I mean, for real, like, we were going through it. I can't even believe the situation of the trip just happened like that. I even believe the situation from the night before could have been avoided if we was just eating like the whole trip. If we had some type of food, I think we would have been straight. Like, we would have figured it out. We would have thugged it out. Anyways, the chef ended up refunding like a little bit of the money, like a small portion of the money that this bitch got. And yes, I'm gonna call her bitch because she knew what she was doing, and she was starving all these grown ass women on this fucking trip, and she was balling out. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. And yeah. So she ended up refunding a small portion of the money, and then a host and a few of the other girls ended up going to the store to grab some food to cook for us, while the rest of us stayed back and got our massages, which was pretty good. So I really enjoyed my massage. I definitely think I needed it because I was on, at that point, I was like, fuck the food, fuck the massage. Just give me a plane ticket so I can go. I don't even want to do this no more. I'm over it. So later that night, myself and two of the girls ended up going to the mall to get some trinkets to take back before our flights in the morning. One of the girls that we went with was actually the girl that I got into it with. Or, I mean, I won't really say that we got into it. It was just kind of like an exchange of words and a little bit of attitude. That was it. But yeah, she was one of the girls that went, and it was fun. It was fun. I ain't gonna lie. Like, going to the mall was a little fun. It was like a little adventure in itself, because the lady that picked us up in the Uber ended up not having any gas. She didn't have no gas in her damn car. Like, I was sitting in the back seat. The other girl, oh, I forgot her name. What was her name on the trip? Shit. I don't remember her name. I'm sorry, guys. But she sat in the backseat with me, and then another girl sat in the front. And I looked over. Something told me, like, check this lady gas gauge. I look at the gas gauge. Why the fuck did that shit say below the E line? It was below it. I was like, oh, child, we about to be... This is ridiculous. And then she drove us through this like little neighborhood where there were these guys standing outside, and I was like, anybody got a shank with them? Just in case we need to shank a nigga or two. Like, I don't know, but just in case we got to shank somebody, because I don't know why she would take this path by all these random ass guys, and it's 3 women in the car. I feel like it's a setup. Are they trying to traffic us at this point? So I had my tracker on my phone, so my husband knew where I was gonna be at. Y'all know it got serious because I didn't even call him my sweetheart. I called him my husband. Like, I had my tracker on my phone ready to go, and I was texting him the whole time, like, just letting you know, passing by this little thing, look like this, look like that. It got this many men. This guy looked like this. Like, I was not playing, because what if that car had broke down by all these men? What was going to happen to us? No, absolutely not. But luckily, we made it to the mall, and we walked around for a little bit before we headed back to the house. I ended up staying up for the rest of the night with a few of the other girls because my flight was early as hell. I'm talking 4 a.m. My flight was so freaking early. It was a couple of us whose flight was at 4 a.m. We were on the same flight. And most of the ladies stayed up, and we laughed and we told stories until it was time for us to leave for our flight. We got to that airport, baby. All I could think of was, baby, I'm coming home, okay? I don't want to leave the country no more. I was ready to go. I was ready to go back to my normal life. I was ready to see my baby. I was ready to see my sweetheart. I was ready to see my kitty. Like, I was ready to get the fuck ASAP, okay? You know what? The trip was really one for the books. It taught me a lot about myself and my self-restraint, as well as my ability to look at things with a perspective that the glass is half full instead of half empty. Because honestly speaking, guys, it was a great experience to get out of the country and go somewhere else with a whole bunch of random women. I mean, for me, they were random because I didn't really know them. it really did teach me that I can get along and be in an environment with a lot of different women, a lot of different personalities. I met some amazing women. Their stories, like, we were telling each other like our life stories and stuff, and their stories were really touching, and they really made me think, like, you know what, sometimes we think we are so unfortunate until we hear someone else's story and we're like, damn, we're so fortunate that we weren't in that situation. And although our story might be difficult to bear, we're bearing it with grace, and we're loving ourselves through it, and we're understanding ourselves through it. Some of us are moms, some of us are soon to be moms. We did have a baby mama. Her name was Baby Mama. On the trip, that was her nickname. Come to find out, Baby Mama was pregnant. I said, oh, so we went on this little, when we did ATVing, we went on this little walking path where we ended up by a waterfall, which was completely beautiful. And Baby Mama had low-key a maternity, photo shoot. She wasn't showing like, I'm this many months pregnant, but she was pregnant, and she took everything like a champ. She was having so much fun with us. Like, we really enjoyed her company. I think she just had her baby, so shout out to Baby Mama. Baby is, congratulations on the new one, the little one. I'm so proud of you. She was really, I was nervous. I mean, they did tell me, like, there's a girl that's gonna be bringing her kid. There's a girl that's pregnant. I was like, pregnant? What do you mean it's pregnant? Who's pregnant? Who coming on a girls trip pregnant? But she really did add a nice level of comfort and warmth to the trip, and I really appreciate hanging out with her. So shout out to Baby Mama. You did your thing on the trip. I really enjoyed your time and your company. And then, we had girls who were from different backgrounds, and these are all women of color. Like, I don't think we had one white girl. Yeah, we had one white girl. Damn, what was her name? Guys, these names, I was like literally struggling with all these names because I'm not good with names at all. But yeah, like we really enjoyed each other's company. I definitely think I will go on a girls trip again. Even some of those girls on that trip, I would be like, yeah, come on this girl trip with me. Like, I really enjoyed their company, their time, their advice. I was giving out advice like left and right, like, but I'm always that person in my friend group that people come to for advice. That's kind of why I started this podcast, because I have a lot of friends that are like, hey, what would you do in this situation? Or, hey, this is the situation I'm in. Do you have any advice for me? So that was kind of like my reasoning behind starting this podcast. And going on that trip, I felt like I was a bundle of advice. But I really enjoyed it. And people really took heed to what I said, which, I mean, I definitely appreciate it, because I wasn't just talking just to talk. People were just like, so what do you think? Stacks, how do you feel about this? What do you think about this, Stacks? And I was like, well, I mean, this is how I would handle the situation, or this is what I think about the situation. And I think it really made each other look at one another and be like, damn, you have something to offer my life. You have something to offer me as a person, and I really appreciate the feedback, the perspective that I got from you. So that was, it was a good trip. It was, quite a few hiccups. We was hiccuping. We'd had no water to parch that hiccup, but it was all good. We figured it out. So that is all for this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm so sorry. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Iphanniebgentle podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you want more episodes like this, where I'm actually filming so you guys can see my facial reactions and all that good stuff, definitely let me know down in the comments below here on YouTube. And then on the podcast, make sure you guys leave a review, because I want to know how you guys are feeling about the podcast. Are you guys enjoying these episodes so far? What do you guys think about them? Do you guys think that I should talk about certain topics more? Or do you have any advice on any topics, or any suggestions on any topics that I should talk about? And yeah, that is it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in my next one. Besitos.